Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on our YouTube account. We're doing a unique little video with the Awakened Heroes. So overall guys, when you look at the Awakened Heroes and all of their kind of gameplay, they're utilized pretty much everywhere. Now looking at our light bearers, we do have the Awakened version of Belinda and we do have Thane. Now overall guys, the Awakened version of Belinda is really the primary one to build. Now when we go over to the Celestials, we do have, of course, the Awakened version of Athalia and the Awakened version of Taylene. Two, again, pretty strong heroes with Athalia, but the Awakened version of Taylene seeing a lot more utility. Now we jump over to our Hippos. That is right, guys. We have the Awakened or the only version of Maitreya, but then we have the Awakened version of Aziz, which again has pretty much no utility anymore, short of possibly the Tower, which is very similar to the Awakened version of Taylene. Now looking, of course, at the Maulers, we have Brutus, guys. Brutus as a monster. Looking here, we have the Awakened version of Solus, which still remains to be our only support hero within the Awakened variety. And then, of course, we do have the Awakened version of Baden, which is right down here, guys. Now, the question is, who is going to be next? Through the live streams, through a lot of conversation, guys, we've kind of went back and forth. So I'm going to run through the factions and the three factions that do not have the second Awakened hero at this point, which means we're going to be focusing on the Maulers, we're going to be focusing on the Wilders, and also the Graveborn heroes. If they are sticking true to what they did, Maitreya was the one, guys, that was kind of out of left field because Maitreya does not have an original form, where when you look at Belinda, when you look at Taylene, when you look at Thane, when you look at Baden, Brutus, all of the other ones do have an original version. So again, they also said that we would not use heroes that we use within a lot of meta formations, but it seems they kind of broke that with the Awakened version of Athalia. So again, it seems like Lilith at this point is just going to be kind of the wild, wild west to see exactly who we're going to build. Now we're going to run through three heroes in each faction, guys, and I want to know your comments below because I want to put out a poll. See exactly who you're thinking is going to be the new Awakened hero. Now, overall, kind of to segment this down, it seems like it is not going to be any of the newer heroes to AFK Arena. So that kind of excludes Crescio, that excludes Salakai, that excludes Anastar right here. Some of the newer heroes, I do not think they'd give us an Awakened version just because we just got through, or they're relatively new heroes to AFK Arena. Now, my first choice in here, guys, that a lot of players were kind of on board with is Satrena. Now, overall, guys, she used to be used for the healing negation once upon a time, and I do say that a lot with these heroes because right now, short of the Tower, there isn't really much utility, even if you do have her built out. Not a ton of utility in this hero. That is why at this point of AFK Arena, there is really no reason to build her, but they could absolutely do an Awakened version of her, which I think would be pretty cool to see for the Mauler faction. Now, a lot of players are also talking about K-Sauce. K-Sauce, unfortunately, was one hero. As you can see, I didn't even build the signature item, but he possesses Rabid Thirst right here, and that's right, I still remember it, which is crazy from playing AFK Arena for so long. But overall, guys, with the Life Leech ability, it is kind of broken, meaning that when an opponent is shielding, the Life Leech does nothing, which is the reason why it is one of the absolute worst skills in AFK Arena. And then they also did add that to the Warrior Elder Tree, which does not help at all. So an Awakened version of K-Sauce in some manner might be pretty solid. They could really go, again, a couple different ways with this hero. When it comes to utility-wise, it would be pretty interesting to see. And of course, guys, the final one that we look at in here is Nemitsu. Now, Nemitsu, of course, is the support hero within the Mauler faction. Overall, guys, he has carried the entire faction on his back, piggyback style, since we have really had support in the Maulers. Salakai was the only other solid one. Alero didn't really do much. Even utility in Salakai isn't super high, guys, not seeing a lot of utility, but Nemitsu has been and always has been the solid support when it comes to healing, when it comes to buffing, things of that nature. Interesting enough, with this haste buff, is still used in a couple different game modes. He pops up every now and then in niche formations with the haste that he does provide. So overall, guys, out of those three, let me know in the comments who you think it is going to be. Personally, I want to see Nemitsu. I want to see our second support hero come with the awakened version of Nemitsu with some very, very strong totems. The ability for him to carry the Mauler tower. I feel like if they add another damage dealer into this Mauler tower, at this point, a lot of it's just going to be kind of white noise, which is the reason why I want to see a very solid support, and I do want to see it within this faction. Now we hop over to our Wilders. Again, this is the only one that we have support. Looking at some of the newer heroes, looking at Orin, looking at Tamaris, looking at Nevi, I do not think, again, they are going to be kind of qualified when it comes to the Awakened Heroes, just for the simple fact that they are relatively new to AFK Arena. Now, I know the rumors right now are looking at Tassie. So a lot of players are saying that Tassie is going to come back as a mage, that it comes in with the Dream Realm, with Aziz, with Talene, with a couple other backdrops to the story. So the Awakened version of Tassie was kind of the one, the front runner as of right now, to really build out the Awakened hero. Overall, guys, Tassie, again, doesn't have a lot of utility. A hero that, short of, again, the Wilder Tower, we don't really see very much utility at all. Now, looking in here, a lot of players do also want to see Kaz, the Hand of the Wood. As you can see, guys, they haven't even updated her to, I believe, the 1080p or the HD definition. She is the only hero that can dodge magic. I believe at this point it is still the only hero, short of the immunity, things of that nature. But her dodge effect had some utility a while ago in PvP because she had the ability to dodge magic, which makes her pretty strong. Overall, again, another pretty solid contender when it comes to the heroes that have been around AFK Arena for a considerable amount of time and the heroes they could actually use with a rework. And then the final one in here, guys, is, of course, our Giant Tree Almas. Again, another hero that I did not build the signature item out. Overall, they tried to make Almas a healing, support, crowd control tank. The tank aspect never took root, which is kind of funny, no pun intended. But yes, it was a pun. But taking root with him, he was a tank that provided some crowd control, but he just get crushed. As soon as you got into any level deficiencies with Almas, he would just get destroyed within formations. Again, the crowd control lasted very briefly. And overall, guys, if they made an awakened version of Almas, that would probably be my #1 priority. I would love to see a huge, massive tree root crowd control healing aspect. Kind of like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. I would love to see Almas being redone. Then the final faction we look at, guys, is, of course, the Graveborn. We have the awakened version of Baden. Now, I know a lot of players were shocked by Baden because, again, it didn't really have a lot of utility. When we look at some of the newer heroes, we have Edwin in here now, which, again, I don't think Fane, I don't think they would either. Even possibly looking at like Tresnar, Kaleen, I really feel like they wouldn't build those heroes out to the awakened version at this point. Some of the heroes that I would love to see is, of course, looking at a few. As much as I like Nara, I would love to see Isabella. Isabella did have some formations within the Curse Realm. Overall, they reworked her a little bit. She did work incredibly well at this point, short of the tower. Not a lot of utility. She was a finisher, but I feel like they could make her a very, very strong mage, or even moving into the support role for the faction would be pretty cool to see Isabella. And again, utility-wise, not a ton of utility with her anymore. Now, another hero that I like, that I've always kind of liked, is, of course, Pharrell. Now, Pharrell still does have quite a bit of utility in a couple different game modes, still used in some formations within the Treasure Scramble. But the way that he works, the methodology behind the energy disintegration and the crowd control, things of that nature, I think they could really make him cool to fit into the story. Overall, again, I feel like he could be a contender. The awakened version of Pharrell seems like it's got a pretty cool ring. Then, of course, guys, the absolute favorite that I want to see is the awakened version of Shamira. Shamira, of course, was the absolute crowd control monster, or excuse me, the damage monster. So when you got into AFK Arena, early game, this was talking 4+ years ago, there were really two heroes that carried AFK Arena. #1 being Shamira, and then #2 being actually Belinda. So Belinda was actually a super, super strong carry, guys, because she could put out AoE damage very fast when you built her out. Signature items joined AFK Arena, making Belinda very strong, but Shamira was always the carry until Daemon came out. Essentially, her son took the carry from her, and as of now, guys, Even Damon is in the carry if you have access to Rem. Rem is just so ultra broken within campaign formations. But if you don't have access to Rem, Damon is still your carry, guys. Even looking at this account, guys, into chapter 49, I am still using Damon in here, which is kind of crazy. And I feel like since they've done the Awakened version of Belinda, which again was once upon a time a really big carry, they need to move over and do the Awakened version of Shamira, very similar that they did with Belinda. And I want to see Shamira just like we seen with Belinda, the AoE, the entire map, just nuking it, like what we seen with Ainz. Again, it would be really, really cool to see the Awakened version of Shamira pulling it off. And again, I feel like Lilith kind of does, she's earned it. She deserves it. She should be the only hero who is the solid choice when it comes to the Awakened heroes. Now, overall, guys, remember, within the rest of the year, we are 6 months of the year. We are in June right now. So we have 6 months, which means we do have our 3 remaining Awakened heroes that are going to be coming out, guys. That means within the King's Tower, farm cards out of here. Remember, every 20 floors, 960 is going to yield me additional cards. This is really the only way that you are going to get these time emblems, guys. You have to farm like crazy, which is what I've been doing with all of these. There are so many game modes now that offer the time emblems. You have to pick them up every single place you can, every single day. Sorry, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Who is it going to be? I'm taking bets now to see exactly who we're going to get. So again, let me know in the comments who you think is going to be the next Awakened hero. And as always, thank you guys for watching.